ended a slightly disappointing 2019 season with an idea of the only way to get back to compete with the likes of the new Toyota and BMW that were on the grid was to build a new car. The old car had been in service fundamentally since 2012, albeit had a fair few different iterations as we went, most lately the RS. And then so we decided that we'd build a new car with a Ford mount tune engine that we'd invested in already. We decided that we'd try and stick with that, and the Ford Focus, the new Ford Focus, was the ideal replacement for the car. We did a totally new approach to the design for Motorbase is concerned. We'd not been involved in a CAD designed project quite to this level before. So yeah, we started from the ground up and actually designed a car to the regulations, around the regulations, opposed to built one to the regulations back in 2012, 2013. The new Focus is about 10 years younger than the car that we were using as a road car. So Ford have obviously learned as technologies have come on, materials have come on in that time. They've designed and built a much more efficient, better road car than its predecessor. So without going into too much detail, it's lower. It's got a lower centre of gravity. It's stronger. It's stiffer. It hits every tick that you need to build a race car. And so it was a really nice starting format to work with. Like I say, we learnt a lot from ourselves. Ford have learnt a lot in 10 years. And putting everything together, it's worked really well with this car. It's a really good starting platform. This is the mount tune design built EcoBoost. So it's based on a Ford EcoBoost. It's the same engine we've been running since 2015 fundamentally. Different tweaks here and there with the inlet side of things. Because the subframes are exactly the same as the old car and every other car that's on the grid within reason. The installation of the engine to this car was relatively straightforward because it took a lot of what we had before, and it's part of the reason why we continued with the Ford. There are obvious tweaks with different inlet systems with the new aero and things like that, but ultimately it's very similar to what we had last year. Mount Tune do as usual their great job of maximising what we can get out of it, and hopefully with a slightly improved chassis and aerodynamics we should be even quicker now. With the new car, again, similar to the roll cage and the shell design side of things, Ford have done a really good job with the new Focus, and it's slightly better, it's slightly lower, slightly smaller frontal area. It's more aerodynamically efficient, which is ideal for our formula. So once again, we embraced CAD technology, which is something that's relatively new to Motorbase. So we're using our designers and our engineers that we've got in-house. We use the BTCC side of the knowledge, but we also use some really good guys on the CAD side of things, both on design and then final production. The final product has been fantastic. But we used a couple of different companies. An individual called Ian from a hack rod and a company called Aztec worked together with the mouldings, the design, and then creating the bucks. And then we had Curly Mouldings come in and they took over from the buck stage to create the final product. And it's just fantastic. The fit is brilliant, the tolerances are great, the aerodynamic, it has a purpose. Where our old car looked great, was designed to look good and meet the regulations quite happily. Aesthetically it looked great, but was less purposeful than this. This is, every single element to this car seems to have a purpose to it. And that's where I think the gains will be. So with the new car, as we said before, in every element of the new car, we've tried to maximise everything we can. We're trying to concentrate on every small detail because pretty much that's what our competition's doing. We need to maximise everything. So the inside of the shell side of things, that's we've mainly been focusing on driver position, weight distribution, and future-proofing the car. We've got hybrid regulations coming in the next couple of years, and we want to be ready for that. We don't want to be cutting a load of material out and putting a load of extra work in. So we've tried where possible to enable ourselves to fit the new components, but equally maximise the regulations for now. So this is Rory's car. So Rory's sitting as central as he possibly can, which is the format behind NGTC. The idea is to keep the driver away from any side impact. Side impact is as strong, if not stronger, than we've ever seen before. And the driver's quite a way back, you'll see. I mean, you think a normal road car, the driver's back of the driver's seat's going to be here, but here it's a lot further back. There's a few new additions to this year. We've got a new fire extinguisher system, for example, which is aiming at more driver safety, and then everything else you see here is tailor-made. So the gear lever is tailor-made for Rory's seating position. So this happened right at the very start of the build program. So before the roll cage was in at all the drivers went down to custom cages, and we sat them in and we found the optimum position for them there. That's the base point. You put the seats are in a fixed position now. So once they're in, once the car's built, we brought it back here, and before we got it all to paint, the drivers come in and they sit in their relative seat position, and they work out exactly where the steering wheel's going to be, so where the steering column's going to mount, and then where the gear lever's going to be, just to maximise their comfort and make sure everything is as suitable for the driver as it can be, and everything's as comfortable, and then hopefully a happy driver's a fast one.